I'm here in my office today, and I just got done with my run this morning. I'm training for a half marathon that's coming up in April of the next year, and I learned some things about my run today that I couldn't help, but I couldn't keep it in. I wanted to share them with all of you this morning, and I hope that what I share may resonate with you. It may resonate with you as an athlete, as a jogger, a runner, weightlifter, I don't know, a variety of athletes out there. Those also who maybe are religious and so on. And maybe you'll find some things that I have to share, maybe thought-provoking or enlightening or encouraging, or maybe stuff you already knew but needed to be reminded. See, on my phone that I have about 4 or 5 apps that track my runs, my activities, my pace, the distance, elevation, and I have another app that can share with others who are following my progress. And I have Pandora that is my music that I listen to. It has a plethora of channels that I use to run. It helps me with my pace or just kills time. One channel in particular is a worship channel, the David Crowder Band channel. I really love that channel when it comes to running. It just there's something about worship music and running is just spectacular. But this morning my phone was dead. I left my charging cable here at the church, and so all I had with me as any electronic device was my Fitbit watch, my Fitbit Surge, Blaze, excuse me, and that's all I had. So when I went out to run this morning, all I did was I did my typical stretches, and I pressed begin on my run, and I began running. I had an idea that I was going to run my hills training today. For those who are local, I went up the Hines Logging Road all the way up to, I think, the 3rd Cattle Guard up at the top. It's about 4.5 miles, I think maybe 5. I haven't clocked it yet. Up to the shooting range, it's about 3 miles. And so as I'm running up the Hines Logging Road, I can see a larger juniper tree ahead of me, and the sign that goes to the shooting range is right up above me, and I begin contemplating if this is where I'm going to turn around. Now, I haven't run this distance in a while, and so I just feeling maybe I should turn around. And again, I had no electronic device to encourage me, to tell me about my audio cues, about how many miles I've gone, what my pace was. Just simply, it was me listening to my breathing, listening to my heart, listening to my feet hit the asphalt, and listening to trucks go by, listening to the wind. But also doing a lot of self-talk, a lot of self-assessments. And for those who run, you probably can resonate and can understand that you do a lot of thinking, you do a lot of contemplating. You may even find yourself daydreaming. You're in such a regular pace that you realize that you're thinking about a subject for some length of time. Well, that's what happened to me today, and I began running and got up to that sign, and I realized I can go further. So I decided to continue on my run all the way up to the top, and I realized, man, I can do this. This is something that my body is right now in just the right shape to kill this run. So I did. I went 10.65 miles, and in that run, I was thinking about what I'm sharing with you today is that I wasn't connected to anything, really. I didn't have any headphones on. It was just me contemplating a variety of subject matters. I didn't have any music to keep my pace. I didn't have anybody telling me what I was doing or how fast I need to go. And so I realized there are times in our life that, or maybe just that in itself, that we need to be unplugged. There's a lot of things out there, a lot of electronic devices, a lot of tools out there that are helpful, but sometimes I think we're just plugged in too much. That we have forgotten that we need to do some self-assessment, and it's sort of like ticker tape distractions. You know, like on TV when you're watching TV and on the bottom of the screen there's this little ticker tape of announcements, maybe stock prices, maybe urgent news. Maybe if you're watching ESPN, you have the scores of baseball, especially now as we're in the playoffs heading to the World Series. You'll see scores, and so we see what's on the screen, but all of a sudden something down below the screen draws our attention away. And sometimes we have this thing that we're living called life, and things come up, and we're so used to the ticker tape of distractions, the things that plugged us in, that we forgot to really hone in on self-motivation, or even if you're religious, you have a relationship with God, we have forgotten the aspect of just being still, being silent, being quiet, and just listening to God. And obviously he speaks in a variety of ways and moves in a variety of ways. And so there are times in which when we get to a place where we're so used to being plugged in that it is awkward silence. There's an awkwardness when all of a sudden that that we have to really think for long periods of time in silence. If you're weightlifting, or you're crossfitting, or if you're in sports and you're exercising and you need music to push you, that's fantastic. But I challenge those that are plugged in. Try one or two of your exercises without anything except you and God, or just you and listening to your self-motivation. What's going to push you? Because on a technical level, if you're a runner and your stuff goes on the fritz, your phone dies, your headphones fall, or the headphones break, snap, or anything happens where you can't rely on those type of items, then how are you going to run? Or at what pace are you going to set without that stuff? It's hard. I realize that today on the logistical stuff. And so another thought I had, and let me just finish, it's about 7 minutes, it's a long video clip, but when Jesus was talking to his disciples in the midst of chaos in life, and the disciples asked Jesus, how should we pray? And Jesus gives some thoughtful, inspired words, obviously it's Jesus words, regarding prayer, and gives them a direction to prayer and what to pray for. And sometimes we need that in the midst of chaos, and instead of being plugged in, that we just rely on God's word, especially if it's just a matter of if you needing some things to think about. Jesus left us some words about prayer, praying against temptation, thanking God for all of the resources he's provided, that we are anticipating his return, and that if there are things in our life that we need to let go or deal with forgiveness, we need to address that in our prayer. And so this morning, I don't know, it's 8 minutes. You probably shut this off already. You don't even know what I'm saying now because it was too long. But those are some things I learned today in my 10.65 mile run. My pace was faster than the other time I ran this. It was about, I think, 11:10. Last but not least, I just wanted to let you know that regarding my Fitbit Blaze that I used on my wrist, I didn't look at it through my whole route, my whole race today. I just pushed begin, and then when I finally got to my destination, pushed end. I didn't look at it the entire route. Have a blessed day, get unplugged, and rely on the Lord, and begin using some good self-talk, self-motivation. Talk to you later. Bye.